Rise forever till ties sever, shine together, rule wherever. Clock ticking now, whenever. My worst behavior, beats who's unique, the flavor. Foes turn flame, then vapor. Rise forever till ties sever, shine together, rule wherever. Clock ticking now, whenever. My worst behavior, beats who's unique, the flavor. Foes turn flame, then vapor.
What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Jarell's Journal, where we have real conversations about life, growth, and healing, and really everything in between, right? I'm your host, Jarell, and today I want to dive deep into something that most of us have dealt with at some point in our lives, and that would be regret, right? That heavy feeling that creeps in when we think about what could have been, what should have been, or even what we wish we could have done differently, right? Now, regret isn't just a military or a veteran thing. It's really a human thing. But for those of us who've served or worked in high stake environments, like the military, like first responders do, or even leadership positions, right? Regret can hit a little different. It can linger. It can really sit in. And if we're not careful, it can shape how we see ourselves. So today, I want to talk about what it's like to live with regret, how it can weigh you down, and more importantly, how to move past it. So first off, let's get real about what regret is. Regret is that emotional pain we feel when we believe we've made a wrong decision, missed an opportunity. It's tied to the idea of what if, right? What if I could have made a different choice, right? What if I would have spoken up? What if I would have stayed? What if I would have left sooner, right? For veterans and first responders, regret can come in many different forms. Regret over decisions we made in the field, relationships we didn't nurture, time we can't get back with our family, and even survivor's guilt, which is a form of regret itself, right? So there is many things that I could sit here and talk about that I say that I regret. There are really a long list of things that can be labeled as missed opportunities. I can definitely name off the top of my head, quite a few that I'm not the best at nurturing relationships, especially when I was growing up, especially as a kid. I moved around so much to where there were opportunities to where I was talking to individuals and felt like we had a good friendship, right? Like that's that's my person, right? That's my friend, male or female. I had some pretty decent people that I would consider friends, but how my childhood was and whatnot, it didn't really register to me to, maybe get the phone number or, follow up or whatnot. And I think about it now, like, man, those individuals was really cool. And, I never got the chance to really get to know them or, get to grow up with friends. And there's been a lot of people, friends, acquaintances, or whatever you want to name them, that been in and out of my life. And it's just, how it was, even becoming an adult, it kind of still happens, which I'm, doing best with what I can, but it still happens to where I'm not nurturing those relationships, and out of sight, out of mind type thing. I'm not really thinking about it, but I feel bad because I'm like, man, those are really cool individuals. We had some good conversations, and now either I can't, excuse me, I can't remember the name, or I don't have a way to contact them, or it's been so long, I don't know what to say. We never had that relationship, or whatnot. So just missed opportunities. Shoot, regret in relationships. I have not had the best of relationships. Like, as far as I've made many of mistakes that ruined relationships, right? Ruined friendships, missed opportunities where I could have went somewhere, right? And I blew it. I missed it. I didn't do what I needed to do in those times. And, it fizzled. Things that I still learn and grow, and it's, or just either poor decisions that I hurt somebody, right? Infidelity and stuff like that is just, immaturity, and just making mistakes and doing things that's causing, um, another person some harm. It's, I think about things like that, man. Because at the end of the day, I was just thinking about myself in those situations. And, when it came back, I can see the hurt and the disappointment from all of the instances of not knowing how to move and not knowing how to communicate, and just instead of just saying what I wanted to say or needed to say, I moved a little different and kind of, you know, hit out, and, some immature stuff that I definitely still think about, still pops in your head, right? It still pops in my head, and I think about it at times. It's tough, right? Because regret isn't just an emotional thing, right? It's real effects on our mental health. It can lead to anxiety, depression, feeling worthless. Even people develop physical symptoms like stress, insomnia. They can't sleep. It's just on their mind so much, right? And it's tough, man. It's a tough way to live. It is a tough way to live and to deal with it and go about your day. When we live with regret, right, we essentially arguing with the past, right? This is something that happened, right? We want to be able to rewrite the story, but it's already been written. We can't go back and change the story. It's not going to change regardless of how much we want to do, regardless of how much we're doing now to try to right our wrong. The wrong is already there, right? But we still, at times, still try to, fix things and rekindle things that is just broke. I've done that quite a few times, especially with relationships and trying to rekindle. It's like, okay, I learned, I figured it out now, or I haven't figured it out, but I think I'm in a better situation now to where let me try to, rekindle or reach out and this and this and that. And, it doesn't always work out because the deed is done. And now, either that bridge is burnt, or, the other times it's cool. It's not, you never get the full version of them, right? And it is what it is. I have to learn to accept that. I get it. I understand what happened. It's just tough to think about. Tough to think about at times. What do we do, right? We have all these things that's on our mind, right? We have all these things these memories that pop in our head that, we're not even trying to think about it, right? Like, I know I'm not the only one. I'm not trying to think about. I'm trying to think about just, listening to music or just thinking about what I'm going to be doing for the day, for the week, or whatever. And then boom, memory hit. A memory hit from a past mistake that you did, right? Start seeping in. Maybe because you matured a little bit more, and now you really know better. So you really know and understand what you did wrong. What do you do, man? What do you do when that happens? Like, seriously, what do you do when that happens, right? So I'm gonna tell you a few things that I've had to learn to be able to move past it. I'm still working on it, still a work in progress, but these tools definitely help, right? So the first thing that you have to do is acknowledge it. This is by far the hardest step in this whole thing, because there are many times, there's mistakes and there's missed opportunities, and there's, why me, that we don't want to move past for it. We don't want to move past it. We don't want to accept that what happened or what it is. Why can't we change that? Why can't we go get a time machine and, fix what happened, or adjust, or maybe say something a little different, right? Or maybe just do something a little different to where we could be in a whole different situation, right? But we have to acknowledge that it happened, because we can always like, well, woulda, coulda, shoulda, like, oh man, and then put the blame game on things, right? Because it could turn into a blame game is, whoa, they made me do this, or I was in this situation, this mindset, and I didn't know. And at the end of the day, we got to scrap all that, right? We got to scrap all that and really acknowledge it and face it for what it is, right? Because you can't heal from something if you refuse to acknowledge it, right? You have to name it, right? So write it down if you have to. If it's really that hard to say it, write it down, right? Whatever it is, right? If you regret, I regret, not spending time with my family, right? I regret how I handled the situation, right? Get it out of your head. Get it out. Get it out of your head. Get it out. Talk to somebody about it, right? The next thing you need to do is to learn from it. Because you can acknowledge it, but if you're not learning from it, you're going to keep repeating it, right? Regret, that is, I believe, regret is one of the biggest and best teachers out there, because you're not going to forget. You're not going to forget. If you have something that you regret or you missed out, you're always going to remember that, right? So learn from it. What happened? What could you have done differently? Because when you get into that situation again, then more likely you will get in a similar situation like that. What did I do last time? Did that work? Nah. All right, let me try it this way. Right? And each time you do it, if it's another, damn, I messed up, or I should have said this. It's all good. Learn from that. I know I can't do this. I know I can't say this. So next time you get in that situation, bam, I got it. Right? So whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, make sure you take your time to look within, right? Look in that mirror and really dive deep on, like, what is it? Was it me? Was it something else? Could I say something differently? So I know next time what to do. Because if I say these words, this is going to happen, right? And it takes time. It takes patience, right? It's going to take some time. You're not going to be able to get it right away, right? You're not going to be able to do that right away. So while you're learning, or you're practicing to learn from it, right? As you're developing those skills, you also have to practice self-compassion, right? Because who is our biggest critic? We are. We're our biggest critics, like, by far. But think about it though, right? Let's really think about it. If a friend came to you with that same regret you're carrying, right? Think about it. A friend came to you with that same regret that you're feeling and that you're carrying. Would you beat them down, or would you try to uplift them? Like, seriously, like, what would you do? I know 9 times out of 10, you're gonna, if that's your friend, you're gonna try to uplift them. You're gonna try to, hey, console them. It's gonna be all right. Let's, just figure out how we can move past this, how we can get better. This is the same thing that you need to do to yourself. Treat yourself with that same kind, or the same kindness, right? You are human. We are not perfect. Nobody is perfect. We are going to make mistakes, and that is a fact, Jack. Right? So, be okay with it, right? You did your best, right? You did your best with the knowledge and the tools that you had at the time. You know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know. So cut yourself some slack. Cut yourself some slack, please. And just let you know, just practice, right? Practice. Everything in life. You know what it is. You know what it is. Those who play sports, you know what it is. Those who's in the military, first responders, you know what it is, right? My vets, you know what it is. You have to be able to practice your craft. If you got a hobby, you have to practice your craft in order to get better and get better and get better. Speaking and doing this in the camera took practice, a lot of practice. I am not a speaker. I would rather sit in the back, make my little comment here and there, and just observe. This took a lot of practice. I've had, I had communications twice in college and once in the Air Force. so I could make E5. And boy, oh boy, I was sweating bullets trying to talk in front of people, even sending in a recording of a 5-minute video. Sweating bullets. It took me 35 minutes. But practice, had some compassion, understood. It's okay. I'm a mess up, but it's okay. It's not the end of the world, right? Another thing you have to do is we have to take action, right? Because there are some things that you may be able to make a little bit better. You can't change it, but you can make a little bit better, right? You can possibly make amends on certain things, right? It'd be apologizing to someone. That's another thing that I dropped the ball on, right? I've had an opportunity to apologize for an action that I did and got nervous and missed the opportunity and I didn't apologize, and that's double regret on that. So, if you have the opportunity, please, force yourself and allow yourself to apologize to that person. Have that hard conversation. I wasn't ready to have that conversation. I should have, but it is what it is. I didn't, and now I have to live with that, right? If you don't want to speak, you can write a letter, right? Text. You can send a text, email, whatever it is, right? If it's, you regret, lost time, you wasn't around them, right? You was out doing whatever you was doing, right? You can start by spending more time, right? Allocating more time to be around, to be more involved, right? Slowly do what you can. That those are little things that you can start to make that situation a little better. You can't change what happened. You can't what you did in the past, but you can move forward. You can start taking the proper actions that you need to you know what? I know I didn't do this before, but starting today, today's a new day. Starting today, I'm going to do something a little different. And I'm going to start to apply myself a little bit more. I'm going to start to be around a little bit more. I'm going to start to, voice how I really feel a little bit more, right? And focus on the present, okay? There's no reason to be stuck in the past. None at all. What happened, happened. You already lived through it once. Why are you going to go back? You lived through it, okay? Don't get stuck back there, man. Focus on what's going on right now. Because this is where you're at. You're here. You're in the now. So focus here, man. Practice mindfulness, and that's so important. That's so important to learn how to be present, because there's so many people who are stuck in the past, right? Stuck in the past, not wanting to deal with it, or are they don't want to accept what happened, or they don't want to forgive themselves. They understand what happened, they accept it, and they just don't want to forgive because they feel like they need to suffer. That's not the case, man. Forgive yourself. Focus on today. Focus on getting better today. Moving in different steps today, right? There's different ways you can do that, man. I always suggest meditation. You ain't got to get all the bowls and the chimes and all that stuff. Just sit down, find a little quiet spot. Even if you need to find a YouTube channel with just some calming meditation sounds, whatever. Just sit down and just focus on breathing, right? Take deep breaths, ground yourself, and really focus on being present, not stuck in a thought, but allowing your thoughts to flow. And if you catch yourself, if you get caught in the thoughts, practice on catching yourself like, oh man, and I just got caught in that thought, and reel yourself back in. That's going over time, that's going to allow you to be able to stay present. And if you start to wander off, you're aware of it, and you'll be able to draw yourself back in. It takes time, but any and everything that is good for you is going to take time. So please focus on the present, right? So, I just, when we're coming up on the closing, I just want to say that I am nowhere close to having it all figured out or whatnot. As I've stated before, I wrestle with regret from time to time. It is what it is. I'm human. I make mistakes, and it's going to be there as a constant reminder. But through it all, I am practicing and developing the ability to learn from my mistakes so I don't have to repeat it, right? Do not allow your regret to be a prison, okay? Don't allow it to be a prison that you're stuck in and you just can't get through the bars and this. Nah, man. Instead of it being a prison, allow it to turn into a stepping stone, right? You're learning each time, so you're getting better each time. You're maturing each time. Okay, you're adding different techniques in your tool bag, right? So allow it to be a stepping stool. Okay, and also remember that the fact that you feel regret, that means you care. You're not going to regret something or feel bad about something or someone if you don't care, right? So since you do care, right, that means you want to do better. And in order to do that, you have to grow. You have to be aware that, dang, I really do care about this, right? I'm understanding now. I care. I messed up. I dropped the ball. This, and that, right? What can I do to make the situation better? What can I do to learn from the mistake so I don't allow myself to hurt that person again? This situation or this person to hurt me again, all right? So just learn, man. Learn and grow. I can't, express that enough, right? If you are listening to this and you're carrying something heavy, just know this, man. Just know you are more than your mistakes. Okay? You are more than your mistakes. You are more than your past decisions. You are more than your past decisions. And it is never too late to rewrite the story you're telling yourself. It's never too late. You can rewrite the story you're telling yourself at any time. It's your story. You are the author. Change up that story. Get out of that regret. Move forward and grow. So I want to thank you, right, for sharing the space with me today. I know this is definitely a heavy topic, but this conversation matters, and I feel it is very necessary because through conversation, this is how we heal. We heal. We have to talk about it, right? We have to get it out, right? We got to learn from it, grow from it, right? So if this message today resonated with you, please reach out. Please reach out to me. Anytime you can DM me, you can email me, please share your thoughts, your stories, your experiences. I want to know, and, the community here wants to know as well. We need to learn from each other. We need to be able to pick each other up. Okay. Let's keep this conversation going because you never know who's going to need to hear your voice. You never know who's going to need you to hear your story. To like, oh man, that happened to me too. Man, I can relate, right? That gives somebody some confidence to let them know that I can do it too, right? So please reach out to me, DM me at meant to be fit at Jarell's Journal. Either one, man, right? We're here, and I'm here, especially for my fellow veterans, military, and them hardworking first responders. I understand that the job that you guys do is very tough. Is very mentally draining and physically demanding as well. And your stories matter. You matter. Do not let the regret allow you to be a prisoner, right? Fight back. And if you need somebody to talk to, we're here for you. I'm here for you. So until next time, take care of yourselves. And remember, your story isn't over. is still being written, just one day at a time. Peace.